Yes, people, and we are back. Welcome to another episode of the Analysis at Anfield podcast, where we talk about the greatest team in England, the greatest team in Europe, the greatest team in the world, Liverpool FC. We ain't done this show for a while, which is kind of what's happened a lot this year so far. Everyone's just busy and stuff, but we're back for another episode. Hopefully, they come more regularly now. I'm joined by one of my co-hosts today. Nick and Mons unfortunately can't make it, but I'm joined by my guy Cams. Seeing him on this channel, watch-alongs, this show, Q&As, all this stuff. All these shows. How you doing? You good? You good, bro?
I'm calm. I'm calm, bro. I'm steady. I'm steady. Got 2 days off now from work. Got the weekend to myself just to watch football. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I always love it when you just got the weekend to look forward to, just chill. You can just chill and all the Premier League on a couple of good games, man. I hear that. And we're also joined by a special guest. I think he's been on this channel before. I think you have been once actually. Yeah. We've streamed. He's been on numerous podcasts. Bits and bobs. His channel, Copy Mechanism. We used to stream on there together. Also on the Redmen TV now. So he's on these big things now, innit? Man like Steve, how you doing, bro? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. It's good to see you. Like you say, it's been a while.
Yeah.
We have spent some time on pods together, mate. So that's all been good, mate. Good to see you. Thanks for having me
You
on.
too, mate.
The first
Anytime,
time I
mate.
came on your channel, I had a power cut in the middle of
I
the
remember that. It
stream.
was a Q&A. I remember it was in the summer. And
Yeah.
yeah, I do remember that.
Literally, the
Yeah.
whole of the district just went out, mate. Street lamps, everything, traffic lights, the
Yeah.
lot, mate, gone. So I lost my signal, lost my power, and all that stuff, mate. So yeah, it's good to be back. Be good to have a chat with you, mate, because a lot's happened in the footballing world since we were last speaking about football together, mate.
It has, mate, because we ain't done a stream for so long. It must be. I think you did the grounded Liverpool thing on first Exam. I've come on there a couple of
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
I think that's probably but that's months ago to be fair. But obviously, it's good to stream with you again, man. We had some good times on Copy Mechanism still. Like
That's
it was
funny, mate.
fun.
Yeah, it's very funny
Yeah.
that.
It was fun, mate. It was fun. But obviously people remember to subscribe to the channel, join the membership, all this stuff. Follow the Twitch as well and follow everyone's socials on here as well. So we'll get started. I'll start with you, Steve, because obviously we ain't done a show on together for a while. So what are your thoughts overall on Liverpool season so far? Just your thoughts so far.
Bloody Manchester City, I'll start with, mate. At the end of the day, the way you got to look at it is we've lost 2 games in all competitions
Yeah.
all season, and we
Yeah.
find ourselves 9 points off the top of the table.
With the game in hand,
So,
remember that game in hand.
yeah, exactly. But you've got to win it, haven't we? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's difficult when a side is in as good a form as Manchester City are, and they're not
No.
making it easy for anybody, are they? It
Nope.
would be really nice to have a season where you only need 80 points to win the league, not like
It would.
95, which makes it really difficult. So it's going well. The squad's really full at the moment. There's lots of players who are coming back to full fitness at the right time for the run-in for the remainder of the season. We're still in all 4 competitions. All we can do with regards to the Manchester City situation, mate, is keep winning the games,
Yes.
keep getting the points on the board, play them, hopefully beat them, and hope they slip up somewhere.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. It's pretty hard to beat perfection, and their current form is pretty much perfection. So, look, if we come the end of the season and they finish on 90 odd points, and so do we, and they win the league, it's no disgrace losing a league to a football team that's as good as that. And I
Yep.
think lots of Liverpool fans need to recognise that and
Yeah.
understand that it doesn't warrant a meltdown. It is what it is.
I completely agree. It's essentially could be like that season a few years ago where we won the Champions League and obviously finished on 97 points, one behind Man City, and it's like you can't get onto the team for that. What more could we have done? Like what more could we have done that season? It's like you just have to put your hands up to Man City sometimes at the end of the day. They are a top quality team, but it's just sometimes it's just one of those things. But I was thinking that yesterday actually. It was interesting you said that why can't why couldn't we have been this good maybe in the Leicester season they won the league? Why did we have to get 97 points, for example, in the season where City get 98? It's just this kind of stuff, isn't it? Why couldn't we have done this in that Leicester season and seasons like that where we'd already be pretty much, I'd say, clear at the top and kind of knowing we're going to win the league? And that's a great point at the end of the day. Sometimes it's just it's just one of those things. But I completely agree with you. I mean, I was thinking this, are we still in a title race? Whilst I haven't got much hope of winning it, you can't rule us out. You
still in
can't
the
rule us
title
out.
race.
And like you said, all we can do is what's in our power. And at the end of the day, what's in our power is we just have to win our own games. And that includes the only time we can take Man City, the only time it's in our power to take points off Man City is when we play them in April at the end of the day. That's the only time we've got it in ourselves to actually take points off them. But we haven't got any power over Norwich getting anything over them tomorrow at the end of the day. We just, like you said, we just have to rely on winning our own games. And, if we win pretty much all of our games and we still don't win the league, then so be it. At the end of the day, there's not much more we can do. We can only do what's in our power. And if Man City still going to win the league, then that's fair play to them at the end of the day.
Don't you think the mad thing is, Ryan, is what happens at the end of the season is let's throw a scenario out there. We finish on 93 points and they finish on 95 or 96, right? So the draws aren't something that the fans melt down over. Klopp just goes, do you know what? We weren't good enough. Manchester City were better than us over 38 games.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We'll go away. We'll work on the things we need to work on and we'll come back and we'll try harder next season. So if the manager and the players and the club are not freaking out and having a meltdown, why do the fans take themselves to that level?
It's the social media generation. That's why. It's the social media generation.
Social media is a parallel universe, isn't it? It's a bizarre place at times. So, it's one of those, isn't it?
I hear that completely. Cams, what's your opinion of? Do you still think we're in a title race? What kind of hope do you have of us maybe winning it this season?
Bro, I'm just taking it game by game. Whatever happens at the end of the season happens. Just take it game by game. All we can do is win games. I'm not looking forward in the future or anything like that. I just want us to win games, and we'll see where we are at the end of the season.
I hear that, mate. I hear that, bro. I completely agree with both of you, to be honest. So we'll actually go into obviously the title of the show is Liverpool defeat Leicester, etc. So thoughts on the game last night? Cams, I'll go to you in this first because I know you were buzzing. You get going on.
I thought it was sublime. There were parts in that game where I wanted to get teary. Like from what I was watching, like we were just unbelievable. I think it was the easiest game for us of the season. And just seeing the players, one of the easiest games I've seen with us play this season. The players we had on the pitch, like everyone's back fit. We've got a full squad. Like it was beautiful to see. Like Diaz, I thought was quality. I thought he should have got a goal, but he was quality. Like Salah came on and looked like he had a chip on his shoulder. I think he should have scored that chance, but he created it himself, so I'm not going to get on him too much.
What, the one where he went in 1-on-1?
Yeah, he dropped the shoulder and sent the player. Van Dijk, it's quality. Trent and Robertson, really good. Thiago and Fabinho again, like sublime. Best midfield partnership in the league. Like it's quality. Yeah, I really loved that performance yesterday.
You know, it was interesting you said easiest game of the season. Do you not think we've had Watford away, for example, which was a bit easy? Man United away even, There's been games where it has been kind of plain sailing for us, I'd say.
That's
I can
true.
name probably
I never
Arsenal at home maybe as well.
felt in too much danger in this game. I know we can say that about Watford and United, but Leicester just wasn't. I know that there was a few chances where you thought, oh, maybe they could go.
Remember Maddison had one early on, I think.
I never thought we was going to lose that game. Never in my mind did I think we're going to lose this game. Never in my mind did I think that. And that's the first time, the first moment in a while this season where I thought that. Like, this season I've been a little bit like skeptical on a few games, but that was one of the first points this season where I thought we're just going to blitz these. We're just on a different wavelength right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Before I ask that question to you as well, Steve, I've just got a comment here from
Oh, is the internet gone?
Definitely a two-way street that both teams inspire each other on to greater things for me.
Yeah, I think that's a part to play. Just trust Liverpool. Like our prime will coincide with Pep's dominance at City. Like trust that to be us.
Would we have achieved what we've got to where we've got to without Manchester City being what they are? Would Manchester City got to where they've got to without Liverpool being what they are? If you take Liverpool out of the equation, it's a farmers' league, isn't it? Basically,
Literally, I think they'd have like 5 on the bounce.
Yeah, so I think that's an interesting point that Rifa makes there. But I think that's a two-way street. If you ask Pep, he's been as good as he has because of Liverpool, and if you ask Klopp, we've been as good as we have because the rivalry with Manchester City exists. So. I think we've done really well to get to that level, to be fair. It's just not easy. We've not spent ridiculous sums of money to get there. We've used players for £8 million, Andy Robertson, for example, that we've been able to manipulate and train and coach and get him to play our system. And he's as good as anybody in the world in his position. So,
100%.
It is a valid point. It is a good point, to be fair, but I think it's a two-way street. I don't know if you watched All or Nothing with Manchester City when the first one came out.
100% watched that.
And they're playing Everton at home. And before the game, Pep Guardiola is saying to his number 2, Liverpool worry me. And then they go,
that front three scare me. Yeah, he said that front three scare me.
We're going to spank them over 2 legs. So I think Liverpool's system, as it is ruthlessly efficient. But as we've seen in the last 18 months, can also be very fragile based on who's missing. Manchester City are a different kettle of fish. They just have 4 or 5 number 10s that ask you questions all game long. And if you catch Manchester City on an off day, they can't play their way out of it. Whereas because Liverpool's whole system is built about resilience and recycling the ball, we don't suffer that same problem. The problem we have sometimes is we can struggle to break teams down. They don't have that problem. So it's an interesting set of tactics and set of circumstances, really, isn't it?
100%. I fully agree.
Where's Ryan gone?
This is his Wi-Fi. He was on another stream before this, and his Wi-Fi was cutting out. Like, we'll be back soon. Yeah, he said the same guy said, I thought Leicester put up a good fight before the second goal. I thought Maddison played pretty well. I thought Maddison did play pretty well. Same with Lookman. Lookman was pretty good on that left flank.
So in the game yesterday, I was a bit. Whilst you were right, we never looked like we were going to lose it. I don't think we ever got out of second gear. And sometimes I find that frustrating because if we really pulled our sleeves up and had a go, we might have put 4 or 5 on them and made a real statement. For it to be 1-0 right up to the 87th minute, it only needs a lucky break in the box, the ball falls to them and something with roaring, so. I
feel like we've been in second gear since we won the league, though. That's my problem. Since we won the league, I feel like we've been in second gear because I was saying this a lot when we won the league. Like, we were just in second gear that game. I've said this way too many times about us. Like, City, they will...
sorry about that, guys. My connection cut off for a sec.
It is calm. City just go for the throat no matter what. Like, it doesn't matter.
But when they're off colour and they're having a bad day, they find it very difficult to adjust. Over the years, people have criticised Liverpool for not having a plan B. Manchester City definitely don't have a plan B. When it's off for them, it's off completely. And we've seen sides like Leeds last season with 10 men beat them because they just weren't at the races. And they're all human, as good as they are. They're human, and it happens. So, we were just saying, Ryan, that Liverpool's tactics are built around resilience and recycling the ball, and you can do that when you're not firing, and you can find your way back into a game. Whereas when Manchester City are off colour, they really are off colour.
I mean, it's an interesting point that I think it's weird with Don't you think Manchester City's is focused on also recycling the ball as well in an aspect though? Because there is all about ball.
They do, but they're number 10s and the number 8s that create all those angles. That's the thing with Manchester City. Yeah. And that's the thing with Pep. All Pep Guardiola teams play based on angles. So their game plan is to get behind you and whip the ball back into the box and have someone coming onto it. How many times have we seen them do that?
Sterling,
yeah. But we've also seen them go and play games, and it just doesn't happen for them. And they take De Bruyne off after half an hour because it isn't working. And you just know at that point that it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And they haven't had any glitches at all this season. And you would think that there's got to be a period throughout the season, where you hope that there is, that they don't perform well, and they give us an opportunity. The draw recently gave us a little bit. The door was open just a touch, wasn't it?
Against Southampton, yeah.
Yeah.
So they just have way too many weapons, though, man. Say, like, to hurt you, way too many weapons. Like, their midfielders can score. The fullbacks are quality.
It's their midfield, man. That is the part where they're just so strong in at the end of the day. And I always say this with Manchester City is what annoys me is when teams they just don't have a go at them enough, man. And I know it's hard getting the ball off Man City sometimes. I get that. But look at the way that Arsenal played against them a few weeks ago. They really took it to City, and Arsenal should have won that game if we're being honest.
I hear that, but they didn't. That's the thing. They played better than Man City, and Man City still won. Man City don't really do that. More often than not, when Man City get outplayed, they lose.
But Southampton tested Man City earlier on. They got a goal. They had that Brozier was really giving their send. And I think that's the weakest part of City is I don't think their back line is as solid as what people make out. They just don't concede a lot of goals because they keep the ball so well.
Yeah, they keep the ball so well. But that's the testament to the team.
I've always said this. I think our back line, our back four is better than Man City's. I've always said that.
I think so as well.
Let's be honest, even the year we won the title, we keep the ball well, but we don't keep the ball the same as Man City. Man City, the way they keep the ball, like it's just Pep's style is just revolved around that. Keep the ball, we won't concede as long as that happens. And at the end of the day, it is the best form of defense. At the end of the day, is keeping the ball. Whereas our defense gets more tested, not because we just don't keep the ball as well as Man City. It's been shown that if you are able to test Man City's defense, their actual back line, you can get at them. Their back line, for me, would I say it's a weakness? I'm not sure, but it is an area where you can definitely target them and definitely get something against them. And like I said, Southampton showed that. Arsenal shown that. That's why they don't do well in the Champions League as well at the end of the day, is because if you look at the ways they've gone out of the Champions League on some occasions, the Tottenham game conceding too many goals, Liverpool game conceding too many goals, Lyon conceding 3 at the end of the day, Monaco conceding how many ever they did? Was it how many against Monaco?
5.
5 or 6. See, that's the why. It's because in the Champions League, teams are able to attack them a bit more. They test their defense more, and their defense a lot of the time in the Champions League doesn't hold up at the end of the day. I think. Whereas, City, at most of the time in the Prem, they're playing teams like Burnley at home who aren't going to test them at the end of the day. Let's be honest with ourselves. So they win all these games pretty easily, to be honest. Like, Steve, what's your thoughts on that, mate? Right.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you've just said. I also agree that if you're brave against Manchester City, you get something. Yeah. If you look at the Champions League final when they played Werner high wide right throughout the game with his intelligent running, what that stopped Manchester City doing was engaging the centre-backs with the midfield. And when you get to that situation and they join in, you're in trouble. Because, it could, like you said, they can just recycle the ball. Why teams aren't brave against them, I don't know. Lots of teams are beaten before they even start the game. They're beaten in the tunnel.
Yes.
Be brave. It's a freebie. There's Liverpool and Chelsea at the moment only in the Premier League that have any right to say, we expect to get something against Manchester City based on form, based on league position, based on squads and all of that stuff. So why don't the other sides that are expected to lose with a bit of dignity and go and have a go and see what
my dad is always saying the same thing. He always says that to me, my dad, the same thing. And it's like, are you absolutely spot on? It's when I looked at the Brentford game, they played Brentford the other day at home, and I'm thinking, in that first half, and I only saw Brentford attack Man City once. And actually, they created a chance off that. They got through pretty easily. I think Ederson saved it or something. I'm like, I never saw them once test their defense at any other time in that first half. And that just shows that, for me, City's actual back line is overrated. I can't call Laporte a great defender when he's barely being required to defend. Do you get what I mean?
But he's a good defender, don't get me wrong.
He's a good defender, but I can't call him a great defender. Do you get what I mean?
But that's the same with quite a lot of modern day centre backs. They're not really defending as much as you had to before. Like, it's more about what you like with your feet, your ball playing ability, your passing, stuff like that.
So, interesting point. Someone showed a video the other day of Yap Stam winning challenges, right? Every single one of them was a 50-50. If he gets it wrong, it's a red card or it's a leg breaker, or if he misses it, they're in the score. And they're saying, you can't put Van Dijk alongside Yapstam because he can't do that. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't want him to do that.
Yeah.
What Van Dijk does really well is shepherd danger away from where it hurts us. And he gets other people involved to do it. And he's kind of like taken that Maldini comment that if I have to make a sliding challenge, I made a mistake.
I always say this.
He's taken that as like a personal mantra. You don't very rarely see Van Dijk go to the ground to win a ball.
Yeah, I heard that. I think the same's kind of with Matip as well. That's why I really like those two together. My preference is like those centre backs, the calm, composed defenders who read the game positionally, I find, and wait for the right moment to, get a foot in or something like that. They just are in control all the time, those two. Whereas I'm not a fan of the rash defenders who just fly into tackles and all that. Even if the tackle comes off, even if they win the ball.
If you're in the right position, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about slide tackling or anything like that. If you're in the right position where you're meant to be, it doesn't matter. That's what Van Dijk is most of the time. He's in the right position, so it never matters. He never has to make a slide tackle. I think most of the time, if you have to make a slide tackle, you've kind of made a mistake or you're out of position a lot of the time. That's why Wan-Bissaka, I've never rated Wan-Bissaka.
I've never rated Wan-Bissaka.
If you're having to track back and recover for something you've done, you're not a good defender. That doesn't make you a good defender.
Exactly, man. Exactly. But going back to this comment as well, because my connection cut off when I brought it up. I agree we've pushed City, but at the other end, I agree that City have kind of pushed us to get these kind of consistency point totals, but we've done it to Man City as well. I don't think Man City get 98 points that season if we're not really that 1 point behind them, chasing them, in that season at the end of the day. I don't think Man City get to that level. At the end of the day, I think both teams have pushed each other, to be honest. And it's just, and I think the same could possibly happen this season. But did you answer the question of your thoughts on the game?
No, Cam's was doing it, and then we had a little chat, but I'll speak to you about it. I agree with you. I think we pushed each other. Let's put it like this. If Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool went around, the Premier League would be a farmers' league because City would have 5 in a row. And they would have had 5 in a row, an absolute canter as well, by the way, by a long distance.
Yeah.
That's not healthy for the Premier League. So all of the other teams should be grateful for the fact that Liverpool are making a decent effort at trying to match Manchester City. And, but for a couple of situations in the year when we got 97 points and they got 98, like the Company Challenge on Mohamed Salah in the centre of the pitch, that's a red card all day long. Such was the size of that game and the magnitude of that game. The referee, the officiating team bottled that decision.
There's no way we go and lose that game because I think it was 0-0 at the time, from what I remember.
Yeah, it was. And if he goes off, listen, Company's a classic example of a centre half that doesn't need to be on the ball or near the ball to impact his team. He was a leader. He was a
great leader.
Yeah, he was great captain. So him being on the pitch would be huge. If they'd lost him, and it was a red card. It was a red card all day long.
It was a red card. 100%.
It was such a pivotal game as well for the title.
That's the reason why that's the reason why the ref bottled it, because you can't have you can't have a league title decided on the basis that you sent the player off for a challenge like that. I mean, if VAR today sees that challenge, he's gone because it's over the top of the ball. It's reckless. It's dangerous. Really badly timed. Mo's made a stern stuff. That's a potentially serious injury there as well. So, in answer to Reefa's question, we motivate and push each other. And we were talking about Manchester City's documentary, All or Nothing, when they were playing Everton, and like Hamza just said,
he said the Salah Mane, I'm scared of him.
I'm scared of Liverpool, and that's on the morning of a home game against, away game against Everton. His thoughts are in midweek, and we spanked.
I think it was the Champions League, wasn't it? It was the Champions League.
It's the one where it's the one where we what was it, 5-3 or something aggregate?
No, I think it was the 3-0. It was just
beat them 3-0 the first time. 3-0, then
5-1, 3-0 and 2-1, wasn't it? That's right. Yeah. So he knows, and Guardiola has said many times that Liverpool's been his greatest challenge in his career, and that includes Real Madrid and
Jose's Real Madrid.
Whatever the merged out the ether over in the Bundesliga, which really is a one-horse race all season, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, and yeah, I hear that, mate. I mean, I remember that Man City Liverpool game, the 2-1, and Company should have gone, but that was a great game. To be fair, from both teams, I thought both teams played out of their skin that night.
It's one of the best Premier League tactical
I
games
think
I've
it's.
ever
I
seen.
think it's the best Premier League game I've seen in terms of quality, just overall from both teams.
Our goal that we scored, just complete pure build up. Oh,
yeah, the one where Bobby dives in and heads it from Robbo's cross.
Yeah,
that's like 37 pass move. That's incredible.
The fullback, one fullback to another, like that was just mad. I remember. Yeah.
It's a prime Man City as well. We just completely brought them down. Beautiful.
You know what? I always say this about that particular game. If any of those two teams, the way both teams played that game, if any of them had played like that day against any other team in the league that season, they would have been an embarrassing scoreline. That's how good both teams were that day playing against each other.
I'll go a step further, Ryan. I'll go a step further. If they play that way against any team in world football, it would be an embarrassing scoreline.
Oh yeah, because
I played that way in the Champions League final, they would win it. Simple as that. They were brilliant, both teams.
They were the two best teams in Europe that season. Without that, obviously City won the Prem and we won the Champions League at the end of the day. Like I think we were the best two teams in Europe by
I think
far.
we are now.
That season, I agree. We are now probably. I probably agree. I think Bayern are up there, but
I don't think Bayern are as good as people think.
I probably back us to beat Bayern over 2 legs, still.
Nicolas Soule versus our front three. No thanks.
Soule's rubbish, man. Soule's rubbish.
They're going to get there. They're going to get and a day of Upamecano is we got the better of the two centre halves out of Leipzig.
100%.
Yeah,
the streets don't forget the last time we played Bayern. The streets don't forget Bayern. Lewandowski was still a footballer before people say come with him. Lewandowski wasn't as good. Like literally, he didn't get a sniff against us.
People forget. You know what people forget about that tie? They forget that we had Van Dijk suspended for the first leg and we still kept a clean sheet against them.
Fabinho pocketed him. Fabinho played centre back and pocketed
Matip and Fabinho was it centre back together.
Quality.
And they pocketed Lewandowski still. I remember that. That probably gets under repeat. And then we went to the Alliance and pammed them. But yeah, my days. Look at talking about Bayern.
You're right. The thing with Lewandowski is he doesn't possess genuine pace. So if you can read the game and read his service, you can stop him from scoring goals. And I think that's what you see. Fabinho reads the game really well as a 6. So wouldn't surprise you that he marked Werner out the game, opening game of the season, the year of the season.
I remember that.
Second season.
That. Was it 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that was a guy that was expected to run the legs off him. So Nagelsmann, interesting.
Yeah, that's just Statman, mate. That's just Statman with his shamelessness. But Steve, I'll go to you because obviously I don't think you've answered this question. Just your thoughts on last night's game overall against Leicester.
I agree with Cams. Never thought we were going to lose it. We were always in control of it. At times, I was a bit frustrated, if I'm honest with you, because I wanted us to find third and fourth gear and absolutely bury them. We never really pressed or exerted ourselves. We didn't have to. I want to see us do that one day. I want to see us really, really stretch ourselves and take it to somebody for 90 minutes. And it would have been nice to do them 5 or 6-0 last night, wouldn't it? But at the end of the day, it was a comfortable performance. Plenty in the tank for the weekend, which we'll need because it'll be a different test against Burnley. 3 points on the board, clean sheet. Mo's back. Harvey Elliott's back. Looks superb.
Yes.
Diaz had a really good home debut, a league debut. And I just thought, what more could you ask for? That's all we can do is keep winning our games.
I hear that, mate. I hear that completely. I think my views on the game is first half, I thought maybe a bit too slow at times, but again, we were always in control. Leicester didn't really offer. They had the Maddison chance earlier on, but apart from that, they didn't offer too much. You always knew we were going to score in the end. We got the goal. Second half, again, it was more the same. I thought there was a part, I'd say around when the Salah and Harvey Elliott substitutions, where Leicester are actually getting on the ball quite a bit. And, having a kind of spell of sustained a bit of pressure they didn't really create anything, if I'm being honest. I'd say after that, after maybe about 5 minutes after Elliott and Salah came on, I say we took complete control over the game again, and I feel we up to kind of gear at that point where we did actually start creating some chances. Salah had a few. I thought he looked really good when he came on. Obviously hit the bar. Diaz looked really good as well, like you said. Harvey Elliott, I thought him and Salah and Trent had a really good link up together down that right hand side as well. I thought Curtis Jones obviously started the game. I think he was right to take him off because I did think it was just frustrating at times. I do really like him because I think there's a lot of ability there, but he was just holding on to the ball too much for me at times as well. And there were people around me as well who were saying he needs to go off still. He's just taking too much time, and kind of taking too much time in the wrong positions at times as well. Trying to take people on in the first half. I remember, deep in our own half, and it's like this. You don't do that there at the end of the day. Just pass it. But yeah, like I said, I thought 2-0, 3 points, clean sheet, never really looked in danger. Leicester didn't create too much, controlled the game, and that's the game I like to see when we, Thiago and Fabinho for me is the reason for that. And the watching the games where they start together in midfield this season, where you're just never in fear, really. They just keep the ball, allow our defense not to get exposed. We don't concede chances. And the pure difference is when you watch games against Chelsea away, for example, Tottenham away in the other month where we didn't have. I don't even think for the Tottenham game we even had any of the two. I think it was Tyler Morton. I think in the six. I remember.
Yeah.
But obviously against Chelsea, it was just Fabinho with Milner and Henderson together with him in midfield, and we just lacked so much control in those two games. You could see the amount of chances that the other two teams were creating, and when Thiago and Fabinho play together, we just don't really concede that many chances. We're just always in control, and that's the thing, and that is backed up by our winning record when they both play together. Is perfect this season, I think, isn't it?
They complement each other just amazingly. They complement each other.
100%. And now you've seen the best of Thiago as well. Obviously, he did struggle when he first came in. He got the injury, and then all that stuff. Steve, I'll go to you to this first. What do you think of Thiago now? Has he fully settled in for you now, and how important is he to the team?
Yeah, he has, and we've adapted well to what he gives us. When he came and joined the club, we swapped a couple of messages early on about that.
Yeah, big up.
When we play on the stretch, when we're caught in a quick transition, he struggles because that's not his game, and it was Wijnaldum's game. So whilst we adjusted to having Thiago in the side, we've conceded against Everton, Brighton, and West Ham through runners through our left hand side of central midfield, because that body that was Wijnaldum isn't in that position, and it needed a tactical foul to stop Jarrod Bowen running that foul with the ball. But the situation for me with regards to Thiago is we're controlling games when we've got the ball. When he's on the ball, he doesn't give it away.
Yeah.
So he can control a game. I mean, look at that little change of direction against Maddison last night.
He loves doing that.
He does it all the time, and they know he's going to do it, but they don't know which way he's going to go. So you can't cater for it. He's a technically an absolutely wonderful footballer, and in this Liverpool side where we're pushing the back line further up the pitch and we're dictating play, he looks a completely different player to the one that played in front of Phillips and Williams, where we were terrified of our back four and we played deep, and the distance between the back four and the front line was like 65 yards. You can't play football that way.
Spot on.
Yeah. Go on, Cams.
No, I was just going to say, I think Thiago is perfect for what we want to be now. We want to be a team on the front foot. And what a better player to have than Thiago, who's just going to dictate play. I think he's the best in the world at that, along with a Kimmich or a Pogba. I think he's the best in the world when it comes to dictating play from the midfield. So, yeah, he's perfect for what we want to be. And having Fabinho next to him as well to cover his defensive frailties when we get caught out, it's just perfect. Absolutely
100%.
perfect.
Definitely. And, like I said, he did struggle when he first came in. He obviously got the injury against Everton. I remember that, potential leg breaker from Richarlison. He was out for 3 months, I remember. Then he comes back into, like Steve said, into kind of a broken team at the time, remember, playing, midfielders at centre-back. and that he
came
came
back
into
against Newcastle. I
broken.
remember.
Yeah, he came on away to Newcastle. Did okay in that game. He did okay away to Newcastle when he came on in like the 10 minutes he was on, I remember. But then I remember we played like Southampton after and all this, and he did struggle. Leicester away, he came on and he struggled big time. And I'm like, but he came into a broken team. And then when you saw Fabinho actually come into the midfield, you saw Thiago's form go up towards the end of the season. And obviously, it's just all it is this season as well is whenever he's played, he's been fine. And, like I said, we've won every game that he started in. But it's just injuries, man. That's all it is with him is the fitness. It's like if we could keep him fit for the rest of this season, man, who knows what who knows what, we could do this season, man, how much stuff we could win, etc. Put it this way, I do think if we'd have had him fit this whole season, I genuinely think we'd be top of the league. If not, I genuinely think we'd be top of the league.
It's hard to say, innit? Because we are having a great season. Don't let that mistake you. Just because we're second, we are having a great season. This is the first time since Klopp's been here, we've been in all 4 competitions, this far into the league, the campaign. We are still in every competition. Usually we get bumped out quite early in the Carabao Cup, and the FA Cup is usually out in the first couple of rounds. So we're doing very, very. This is a great season for us. I think Klopp said as well, this is his best Liverpool squad he's ever had. The best squad. In terms of squad, this is the best he's had, he said. But I think we're having a great season just because Man City are just so good. We're just very unlucky, but we are having a great season.
I hear that, but I just think if Thiago was fit for the whole season, we don't drop points at home to Brighton when we're 2-0 up. We don't lose away to West Ham if he starts that game.
It's hindsight, though, isn't it? It's hindsight.
It's hindsight, but I don't know. We don't drop a 2-goal lead away to Chelsea. We don't struggle like we did away to Tottenham. It's just, I genuinely think we'd be top of the league. I really do if we had him fit for the whole season. But it's just one of those things. It's just
I think because we are what we are and we're as good as we are, and we've got players that know they're good, sometimes, and only sometimes, we tend to slip into a little bit of a complacent attitude. And I thought we were very complacent against West Ham, and I don't think Thiago changes that. I think 7 or 8 of them thought they needed just to turn up to win, and you can't do that against teams like West Ham.
Palace as well. We were massively.
Palace where we just lost complete control.
We won 3-1, but we was outplayed massively in that second half. I still don't know.
It was horrible. That second half was horrible.
And to get a penalty like that, at the end of the day, if that had been given against us, we'd all be fuming, wouldn't we?
Yeah. But it was never, for me, it was never a penalty at the end of the day. But that game was weird because the first 40 minutes of that is probably one of the best I've seen us play this season.
We were magnificent. The first 30, 40 minutes, we were magnificent. And then after we got the goal, we were just poor.
We just lost complete control, and it continued into the second half, and we just couldn't get a foothold. And then obviously we get that lucky penalty at the end of the day. But we'll go, obviously on Sunday we play Burnley away, 2:00 kickoff. Steve, what are your thoughts going into that? You confident?
Yeah, I am confident. We were talking about games like this on Redmen a couple of weeks ago, and what you tend to find is when you take a technically more gifted side to play against somebody, they'll counter that with physicality and press and trying to knock you out of your stride. And with the exception of McNeil, who has it in him to beat a man, I don't see too much creativity in the Burnley side. They tend to grind out results with hard work and or not this season in terms of results. But with physicality and being organised. Yeah, I think we'll be too much for them at the weekend. I think
you saw Man City played against. I mean, not Man City. Man United played against them, and they just got unlucky. They couldn't.
United should have battered them. Burnley didn't play well. People in the comments, if you saw that scoreline 1-1, trust me, United. It was a pretty one-sided game for most, especially that first half. 2 goals disallowed and all that. I know we were happy Man United drew the game, but let's be honest, they were unlucky in that game. We have to be real with ourselves.
They were, but I think we've got too much for them. If we can we approach the game in the right way, mentality-wise, if we come out of the blocks quickly, because the longer the game goes on and we're not in front, the more Burnley's confidence grows, and the more it becomes, can we nick one from a set piece? We get a bit edgy. We get a bit nervous, like we did against.
It could turn like the Leicester game. It could turn like the Leicester away game the other month, where We were expected to win that game. The injuries Leicester had, who they were playing at centre back, and we created chances in that game. We were dominate possession, creating chances. Missed a penalty, obviously. Schmeichel was a
had a
great
blinder
one.
as well. He had a blinder.
But the longer the game went on, you got more tense. And Leicester, obviously, I think they scored early in the second half. To be fair, from what I remember, it's around 60 minutes in. I don't know, but that's the kind of worry if the longer it goes 0-0.
Playing away as well, you need to kill that home crowd dead straight away. You need to kill it as early as possible. Because if you let it go on and on and on, the game's just going to get away from you eventually.
I agree. Steve, I'll go to what's your preferred lineup for the game on Sunday? Because obviously we only played on Thursday. We've got a game on Wednesday in Champions League. Obviously a game on Saturday as well. So obviously, is this a chance where Klopp should be rotating a bit? To use the squad.
I think he'll go strong. I think he'll go strong. I think the back four will pick itself. I think the goalkeeper picks itself, so don't expect any changes there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Robbo came on as a sub, so he should be fresh. I think Thiago needs another game in midfield just to sort of fine-tune.
More speed, yeah.
I don't think it suits Elliott, to be honest with you, because of the physicality element of the game. So we might see the same midfield that started in midweek. And I would leave Diaz in the side for this weekend and play Mane in the Champions League.
Okay, yeah, so you just bring Mane straight in. Would you do the same, Cam?
I think I'd play Keita in midfield over, I'd say, Jones. I want to see Keita get a run of games as well.
I hear that, man. I hear that. And what would your front three be, Cams?
Pretty much Diaz, Firmino, and Salah.
So you keep Diaz in. So you drop Jota. So you rest Jota.
Yeah. Play Jota in the Champions League.
Okay, so actually, what would your front three be in the Champions League then against Inter?
Mane, Firmino, Jota. I know you're gonna say, oh, drop Salah, but to be fair, no, I would play Salah in that game. It's
crazy. We got options up front now.
It's weird. It's weird. I'd play the original front three against Inter. That's what I'm playing.
I agree. Because Inter have got to win that game in that leg. They can't expect. Nobody gets anything at Anfield in Europe nights. Obviously
they can't expect to rely on an Anfield second leg to go through.
Do you know what?
No, their game plan will be to be in the ascendancy coming out of the first leg. You don't want to be going to a European game against Liverpool where let's say Liverpool nick a 1-0 win, where you've got to win 2-0 at Anfield to go through. There's not a team in Europe that fancies that challenge.
No.
So I think Inter Milan will be quite open against us, and I think that might play into our hands. European teams are not set up to play against the way we counter. They're really not.
Yeah. I mean, the one reason why I am confident against Inter Milan, for example, is because I think they are top of their league, but they're not clear of AC Milan.
They're in very good form. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
how many points are they ahead of AC in the table?
Oh, it's not that. It's pretty close, but they're on a very good winning streak in their league, I'm sure. But the thing is, why I don't want to take that. I want to take that with a pinch of salt, is because I saw how we played against AC Milan. I
was going to say that.
We were very good against AC Milan. There's not much difference between AC and Inter. I think AC actually just beat Inter, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, now I've just got it up here. Wait, so Napoli a second, actually. All right.
Yeah, point clear of Napoli and AC Milan with the game in hand.
Okay, so it's not as if they're miles clear of them. They're just let's be honest, they win the game out 4 points better. We went to AC Milan away only a couple of months ago and deservedly beat them with our second team. So exactly. It just gives me confidence that I think we should be beating. And I do think I don't think it's going to be an easy tie. I think it'll be tough, but I do expect us to get through over 2 legs. I expect us to beat a side who is, a bit better than AC Milan over 2 legs with our first team. Do you get what I mean?
They're just not on our level, Ryan. These Serie A teams, they're not on. They're good, but they're not on our level, like the Man City level, the Liverpool level. Both Man City and Liverpool wash them.
Their most important player, Barella, is out with both of the legs against.
I've heard that. I have heard
that. He got a red card against. Who did you get a red card against now in the last game?
Was it Atletico
Real Madrid? No, it was Real Madrid.
Oh shit! Why am I thinking? No, I'm thinking AC Milan. Sorry. Yeah, Real Madrid.
Yeah, so him missing is a big loss for them.
Yeah, it is.
Massive.
Obviously, they still got some good players like Martinez. You know, they still got players
Dzeko
like
as well.
Dzeko. I forgot about Dzeko.
Brozovic, Çalhanoğlu has been decent for them. Who else they got?
The thing with Dzeko is Dzeko's not very mobile anymore because he's getting on, and what he offers is a bit of a target man. But if you look at Matip and Van Dijk, they're exactly the type of player that both of those two guys thrive at. So if it had been Lukaku and Martinez, for instance, although I don't rate Lukaku, if I'm being brutally honest with you, that was a great combination because Martinez played off Lukaku really, really well. But Dzeko's a different proposition and it isn't as mobile as Lukaku is. So, look, we should be going to that game looking to come out of there with the positive result, making Anfield nothing more really than a formality. That's what we've got to go there to do.
I agree. I hear that. Speaking of the Champions, because obviously we've spoken about the Prem, and as Doug said here, it is very nice to be involved in 4 competitions this season.
Totally.
So obviously,
agreed.
100%. This feels weird, you know. I've never had it like this where we've actually. I'm not saying we're in a great position in the league, but we are still in with a chance of the league at the end of the day, and it's just crazy. And we've got a great chance in all the 3 cups that we're in as well.
It's nice to have a chance at 4 trophies. Well, we'll say 3.5. We'll say 3.5.
Yeah, let's say that. But obviously, let's talk about the Champions League. How much do you think we're? Well, I think we're definitely one of the favourites to win it. But how highly?
I think we're going to win it. I think we're going to win it. I said from early days. I think we'll win it.
I just feel the Champions League is one of those where it's a bit hard to say, "Oh, we're going to win it." Do you get what I mean? It's just
it is until you get your draw. But even if we don't win it, I'm not mad. But I think we will win it. I just think we're going to win it.
Steve, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, we did a debate on this. We're doing up number 20 or number 7. I've been lucky enough to see a lot of Liverpool's European successes. I've said this many times on pods before, Ryan, that the difference between Manchester City and Liverpool is Liverpool have got that deep European heritage where every season the Champions League, we come alive for the Champions League. Daps has said recently that Liverpool can be having a bad league season but still come alive for the Champions League. It's like it's in our DNA. We've won 6 of them. We've been in 9 finals. It is the fabric of the football club. I think it's really, really on the cards. It's really, really doable. The way we're playing at the moment, over 2 legs, Manchester City and Chelsea would be our toughest challenges because they understand what we do because they play in our league.
They play in our league.
For some reason, we ended up playing one of the more one of the European sides that don't really know us in the way that they do. I think they would struggle with the way that we play.
I hear that. I agree with that. I think City would be an interesting one over 2 legs. Obviously, we did beat them a few years ago with a team not as good as what we have now, to be honest. But it would be, I think that would be a 50-50. I think 2 great teams over 2 legs. I think a lot of it would depend on who has the second leg at home as well, for example, in those ties. Same with the Chelsea. I'd feel confident if we played Chelsea over 2 legs, you know. I still think we're a better team.
Yeah, spot on.
I still think we're a better team than Chelsea. And over 2 legs, the better team usually goes through, especially with the away goals rule gone now as well. The better team does usually go through. I do think we'd actually knock out Chelsea over 2 legs. City's a 50-50 for me. I think that's a tight one still. But I think any other team in Europe, Bayern Munich, very good team, but I would feel confident beating them over 2 legs. PSG, 100%, we'd beat over 2 legs. It's just the one-off games. I think anyone could beat anyone in a one-off game at the end of the day. That goes for PSG.
The thing is, I don't think PSG is 100% because obviously Flores has said this multiple times. When they've got that front 3, anything can happen at any.
That's why I think it's more dangerous to play PSG in a one-off game. I think 2 legs.
Yeah,
I still think we'd go through.
But that's the thing. They could just they might. have just a crazy like half an hour and blitz us within half an hour. That's the thing.
Like what we did to City a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly. In the first half, that tie was done.
That's exactly right. You're spot on to mention that, but it also illustrates their biggest problem. Pep Guardiola made 2 positional changes at half time, and for the next half, the second half, and for the second leg, PSG were never in the tie. So basically, Pochettino stood on the touchline with his arms folded, not knowing how to combat what Pep had done. Now there's 3 or 4 managers in world football that can make changes during a game that have an impact on the end result. Pochettino isn't one of them. Yeah. So if they start well and they score, and then they get pegged back and the team grow in confidence like Manchester City did, they don't have tactical flexibility to deal with that during a game. And that's a massive thing, and that's for me why Pochettino is ridiculously overrated.
He's massively underrated. He's not in that bracket with like the Peps and stuff. I don't think he's in the bracket below that. I think he's in the bracket below that. He's like a 3rd tier manager, in my opinion.
He's got the same issue that Brendan Rodgers has got.
Yeah.
I do think he's better than Brendan, though. I think Brendan's really struggling. I think
they're in the same mold. I think they're in the same mold, personally.
Yeah, I would still say Poch is a level above Brendan. Brendan ain't getting a Champions League.
I don't think he's better than Conte. To be fair.
I don't think he's better than Conte. But
I don't think Conte's on the level of Klopp and Pep. And
no, I don't think he is either. But I do think, I don't know. It's different. It depends what you base. I do think Poch is like comfortably better than Brendan for me, but not as good as Conte. But then again, like you said, I don't think Conte is as good as Klopp, Pep. You get what I mean?
Because his European success is very, very suspect.
Really hinders him. It really hinders him, Conte's European record. But obviously, we've talked about the Champions League. Obviously, we're in the final of the League Cup later on this month away to Chelsea at Wembley. You guys confident over that? What do you guys think of that game? Yeah.
No, I'm not.
You're not? Go on, Cams.
It's them one-off games. I feel like in a one-off game, I reckon Chelsea will probably win this. But if I really want to win it, I said when City went out, I said I really, really want to win the Carabao Cup. Just because
if you win it, we get the record back. If we win it, we're ahead again.
I know, but I don't care about the record. I care more about the mentality it's going to give us to go on the rest of the season. Like winning a trophy, like while being a part of the team, like these players winning a trophy, like Jota finally winning a trophy with Liverpool, Thiago finally winning a trophy with Liverpool. It's going to give them a little bit of confidence for the rest of the season. And I say a little bit, a lot of confidence.
I think if you're, like we said, we're in all 4 competitions so far this season. I think winning the League Cup, obviously you win it in February, just gives you that, even though it is, like, let's be honest, it's the 4th prestigious trophy out of the 4.
That's why Pep goes for it, because he knows it kickstarts the season.
You win it early, and if you win it, you've already got a trophy in the bag, and it gives you so much momentum, the mentality it gives you. And that's why, I do think that's the reason why City beat us to the league in 2019. They won that League Cup early, and they went on that mad run of 14 league games or whatever it was. It just gave them mad momentum at the end of the day. And maybe that could do the same with us. If it doesn't win us the league, it could give us momentum to try and go win the Champions League at the end of the day. Steve, what are your thoughts on the Carabao Cup final?
I'm quite confident. Look at Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, and you say, what does he have to do to be revered alongside the likes of Bob Paisley and Kenny Dalglish as a manager who won a double and also won European titles respectively.
Yeah.
All great Liverpool managers pick up domestic cups along the way as well as the big 2. So, you look at 84 when we won the league and Cup. The League Cup and the European Cup, we picked up a domestic trophy. You look at the 86 double, we picked up the league and the FA Cup. So if we're going to have a conversation at the end of Klopp's reign where we put him right up there with the best Liverpool managers of all time, he needs domestic trophies alongside the big 2 because they're harder to win and they don't come around so often. So he'll know that. He'll be aware of that. We haven't got to the final just to turn up and make a bad account of ourselves. Kelleher will play in goal. The rest of the team will be the first
full strength. 100%. I actually do feel confident. Actually, I think if we have our strongest team out, which I'm sure we will, we have Thiago and Fabinho in midfield. Because what you have to remember, the 2 times we all the times we played Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, when they've been under Thomas Tuchel, we lost 1-0 last season there at Anfield, where we were just in that horrible rut.
Was that the Mount goal?
It was the Mount goal, yeah, and Fabinho at centre back and all that stuff. Then this season, you look at it earlier on this season, the draw at Anfield when they were down to 10 men. No Thiago in that game either. I think, and all that. We didn't really have much off the bench in that game as well to bring on as well, from what I remember. And then you look at the game at the Bridge the other month, where we went 2-0 up, undeservedly so, if we're being honest. But at the end of the day, we played a midfield of Fabinho, Milner, Henderson. At the end of the day, like, we didn't even have our manager out. Klopp wasn't at the game, was he? It was his assistant.
He had COVID. Pep.
Yeah.
We had no Alisson, no Matip, no Firmino.
Alisson ain't gonna play in this anyway, but like
we had no manager. It's just And you're right. 2-0 flattered us, didn't it? It really did.
It did. Oh yeah, we didn't deserve to be 2-0 up, but like I just feel playing against. I just think we're a better team than Chelsea in it, and of course anything can happen in a one-off game, but I just feel our defense is still better in terms of personnel. Midfield, okay, they've got a very good midfield, I'll give them that. But can our midfield with Thiago and Fabinho compete with them? Of course. And see, one's just trolling in the comments anyway, because he was telling me how good Thiago was earlier on as well. So yeah, he's just trolling in there. But and then our attack is much better than Chelsea's as well. So anything in one-off game is going to be a very tough game. But I do feel
players to bring on, attackers to bring on. If the game's not quite going our way.
We've got players to bring on to make a difference, which we didn't have in the 2 games we played against them in the league this season, particularly that game at Anfield, where, in the second half, we didn't really have that much of a clue, to be honest. But, that's the thing. I think we're in really good position for this final, to be honest. And if Lukaku plays, we all know he don't turn up in big games. So that's one less man they've got. Let's be honest with ourselves.
They're better without him.
Exactly. But that's an interesting one. Obviously, it's going into Chelsea, but do you think Thomas Tuchel plays Lukaku in that final?
He's a £97 million flop, mate. That's the only way you can look at it.
Of course he is. Of course
he's been bought. He's been bought to give them the edge, to take them from almost to Premier League winners. Not going to happen. They're very one-dimensional when he plays, and they center too much of their game around trying to feed him. When he's not there, they're much more expressive, and they use more than one person to attack you. I said this at the start of the season on 3 in midfield with Kojo, that I find them to be very one-dimensional under Lukaku, because his whole game in Serie A was to play on the shoulder of a central defender and bully them, and you don't get that opportunity to do that. And he tried doing that for Everton, and he tried doing it for Manchester United. It wasn't really successful, and he hasn't improved, and he hasn't changed. What he has done is he's lost a lot of weight. He's got himself in shape, so he's a little bit more mobile. But to be brutally honest with you, you'd want him to play, because they're an easier team to play against with Lukaku in the lineup.
I think you asked that Lukaku comment, because I think Tuchel's system is based more on the team rather than you're trying to be centered around one man. That's why it's more on it's more of a unit than it is for like just a one-man team. I think that's what he's built it on. That's why they play better without Lukaku. So yeah, I think he's spot on.
I mean, you look at the run, they got some really good results when he wasn't in the team, remember? He got injured, didn't he, earlier in the season? They got some good results. I remember them Norwich is shit. They beat them 7-0. They beat Newcastle 3-0. They had some very good results at that time at the end of the day. And, they played very well against us at the Bridge without him. They played very well against us at the Bridge at the end of the day. They should have won that game, if we're being honest with ourselves. So they're a much better team without him. And I think that could potentially, I'm not sure, Chelsea fans might disagree, that could potentially be Thomas Tuchel's downfall at Chelsea, in terms of, I've heard Chelsea fans say he is tweaking the system to suit Lukaku more. And I'm like, why would you do that? Okay, Lukaku's 100 mil, but you've won the Champions League without him at the end of the day. You've achieved success without him. It's been shown you do play better without him. Your system works, Tuchel. So why change it just to suit Romelu Lukaku? I personally think that could prove to be his downfall, to be honest, at Chelsea. Thomas
I think
Tuchel.
they chose I think they chose the wrong striker. Personally, I think they chose the wrong one.
Martinez. You should go Martinez.
I think that's who he would have suited their team a lot more. Lautaro Martinez, a lot more.
I hear that. So obviously that's Premier League, Champions League Cup we've gone through. So if we go to FA Cup, obviously we've got Norwich at home. You know, I think no disrespect to Norwich, but a tie. I think we're all feeling quite confident about.
Routine game.
Yeah, a few weeks. You know, a few weeks exactly. I think it'll be, you know, simple win. You know, we got squad there to deal with it. We already played Norwich in the League Cup this season and beat them 3-0 with our second team pretty comfortably. So I feel confident about that game. And obviously, if we win that, we go through to the quarters. And then obviously you've had Man United, Arsenal out, and they would have been two of the favourites to win the FA Cup, so they're out. Then you got Tottenham, City, Chelsea, obviously all going to be contending for that. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, I think we got a great chance of the FA Cup as well this season. Steve, what do you think? How good a chance have we got of winning that?
Yeah, once you get to the quarters, I would expect to beat Norwich. Once you get to the quarters, you sit up and take notice of the fact that you've gone that far into the competition.
Yes.
We've never really done that before.
Yeah.
And because the league is a bit of a mountain to climb to get anywhere near that, and I think that's recognised by the players and by the manager. If you can't win the league, go and win the other three.
Yes.
Why not? We've got a squad to do it. We've never had a squad of this depth in my lifetime. This depth is ridiculous. You know, you look at up front, like you said before, we've got options. We've got 6 or 7 players who can play in forward positions. Come back into midfield, there's half a dozen players who can play in there. We've got 6 centre-backs. We've got 3 really good full-backs, and we've got like a very, very good standing goalkeeper. So put the depth charts away. Stop looking at those things. We've got a squad that's capable of challenging on all 4 fronts. Now everybody's back fit. You know, Tyler Morton came in and did a job, but when everybody's fit, Tyler Morton will be lucky to make the bench right now.
I don't think he makes the bench when everyone's fit. No chance.
That's not an issue. That's part of his development, and it's fine. You know, at the end of the day, that's part parcel of being a youngster at a football club. But his time will come in the future. Maybe we'll see. But we should be setting our stall out to go long into all of the competitions that we're in, because we've not been in this position for 20 odd years before. You know, it's taken so long to get to a position in February where we're in all 4 competitions, and we've got a very real chance in all of them.
Spot on. Yeah, Cams, what are your thoughts on the FA Cup this season?
I would love to win the FA Cup, because obviously, me and you, when old, we haven't seen Liverpool win the FA Cup. That's the only trophy we haven't seen Liverpool win. It's the only trophy we've never seen Liverpool win, so I would love to see us win it.
100. I always say when we last won it, Liverpool, the FA Cup out, it was in 2006 when we beat West Ham.
Gerrard's
I was only like 5 or 6 when that happened, so I don't remember it really, and I don't remember it. So you know, and if we win that now, I'd have seen us win everything pretty much, because I've seen us win the league, seen us win the Champions League, seen us win the League Cup in 2012. Hopefully, see it again this month, and then I would have seen the FA Cup, even seen the Club World Cup. Obviously, I haven't seen the Community Shield, but don't give a shit about that, to be honest with you. You know, the proper trophies, like I would have seen everything, man. So I do really want to win the FA Cup, to be honest. But I think, do you rate our chances of the FA Cup this season, Cam?
100%. 100%. As long as I'd like, you see, I hope another upset happens, like how West Ham did with Man City. Like,
who do these teams play? Because I think all 3 have I think Tottenham have like Middlesbrough away, which obviously they beat Man United, could maybe be a potential banana skin. But I think Chelsea have got Luton and City have got Peterborough. Like,
I'm not worried about Tottenham in cup competitions. It's more Chelsea and City I'm looking at.
Okay, Chelsea and City then. But I do think Tottenham will be aiming to go for it. And at the end of the day, Antonio Conte he's a very good manager. At the end of the day, like,
potentially.
But I would back City. I am more scared of City and Chelsea at the end of the day over Tottenham. I'll be honest with you. But I think those 2 have kind of got piss easy ties as well, to be honest. So I expect all of them to get through to the quarters, and then I do think there probably would be a big kind of tie in there, maybe a Chelsea Liverpool, for example. Like, You know what? You know that season we won the league a couple of years ago. It's like when we got knocked out, but in the cup by Chelsea, that really hurt me. You know, that really hurt me because
the one where Billy Gilmore,
yeah, you know why that hurt me as well? It's because we didn't even play too badly in that game. We had chances in the first half, but Klopp kind of played like a mixture of his first team, but then his kind of second team at the same time. Like half of it was like there was somewhere it was like Origi and these guys, and then obviously you had like Robertson and these guys played. Like I just feel because we had the league wrapped up by them pretty much. We had the league wrapped up. He should have gone full strength in that game, you know. Full strength.
Adrian killed us in two big moments of that season. I'm not going to say the other one because it still gives me PTSD, but
the Atletico.
Yeah, it's that game, man. Honestly,
you know what's crazy about that Atletico game? I don't even blame Adrian for that. I blame us not finishing the game off in 90 minutes. Like
I agree, but my only memory is Adrian giving that ball away, like throwing the ball to the center of the pitch, and just it was all over from there.
Did he give it to João Felix? Was it?
No, João Felix had been subbed off at that point.
João Felix was definitely. I'm sure he was still on. I know Llorente scored, but someone passed it to him. I remember. I think it was João Felix.
I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie. I just remember Llorente.
I want to remember.
There was so much wrong with that game. So much wrong with the way we defended. When you go and look at the videos as a football club the next day, they're not all pointing the finger at Adrian. Okay, gave the ball away, but we stood and watched someone bring the ball under control, make a pass, someone go clean through and score. So there are other people that needed to be dug out for that at the same time. So, you know, I think Klopp's very much of a we concede goals as a team rather than we concede goals as individuals. And, you know, I made the point on three in midfield early on in the week. Trent, for example, when he sits down with Klopp at the start of the season, we're not looking at his defensive side of his game. We're looking at his creative side of the game. So when he's in advanced positions and the ball breaks down and Twitter goes mad and says, where was Trent? Klopp's not looking at Trent to make that recovery run. You can't be one of the best creative midfielders in the world. Fullbacks in the world and be the best defensive fullback in the world because you can't do both jobs at the same time. Hence the reason Henderson plays right side of centre midfield. Hence the reason Fabinho covers more on the right than he does on the left because we commit so much down the right-hand side. The conversation when we concede down that side of the pitch is, what were you, Henderson? What were you, Fabinho? What were you, Matip? What were you doing? Because he's a risk taker. He's your guy that goes forward and creates your play. So when it breaks down and he's caught up the pitch, I don't want to be having a conversation about why people are pointing the finger at him. There's three of you there that step into the hole that he leaves and you cover that space. And we've suffered a little bit with that. We suffered with that against Brighton big time early on in the season. So, you know, it's just an interesting set of tactics that we use at the moment. So, but we should be really setting our stall out to try and win all four.
If you remember last season against Real Madrid, that was a big problem as well. We played.
They just switched us out of the game. They just switched the ball every time they got it and played. Switched us.
Oh, that midfield in that first half.
In that first leg, he had to get subbed off because he just wasn't doing his job tactically. He wasn't covering for Trent or anything. I think he got hooked at half time. And that first half of that time just killed us.
From what I remember.
Yeah, it was the first half. I remember he's like Klopp just wasn't having it, and it left Trent
still, you know. We could have got through in that tie because we lost that game in the first half of that first leg, you know. It wasn't even the second half of that game because we got a goal in the second half. That first half of that first leg, we lost that tie. You know.
Yeah, it was horrible.
But I'll end the show with one final question. I think I've asked Cams this, but I don't think I've asked you this, Steve. If we take the League Cup and FA Cup out of this, Premier League or Champions League, obviously we have still got a chance in both. I've got two questions for you on this. If I was to tell you now, I'd love to win both. I'd love to win all four trophies, obviously. But if we could only win one of the Premier or Champions League, which one do you think it would be, and which one would you rather it be this season?
I think it's more likely to be the Champions League because of the size of the task in overhauling City.
Yeah,
and I can't pick between the two because it's kind of like a game of poker where you put your cards on the table and say, I've got 3 at full house, and then that's your Premier League, and then your opponent throws down a royal flush and says, I've got a royal flush, and that's your Champions League. So it's kind of like, we're champions of England. Okay, that's fine. We're champions of Europe, and that's something that is embodied in our football club because of what we've accomplished over the years. So Champions League's more likely because we're expecting Man City to have a wobble, and that's not like them. But we live in hope that they'll do that. But then you also caveat that by saying, wouldn't it be nice to get number 20 under the wing, because that stops the Man United conversation about, well, we've got 20.
We would level
we're going to be singing 20 times if that happens. That's our new chance.
Still saying you haven't, you've got 2, because they think football started with the Premier League. You know, you've got to go beyond that and look back. If you look at that, really, the Premier League itself's been rebranded 4 times and had 4 different names.
Barclays,
so each time they do that,
the
history rubs out the ones that go before. If you choose to look at football that way, it's a top flight win, isn't it? It's the top flight of English football. Doesn't matter what you call it.
Top division, top league, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I think more likely to be Champions League. I don't mind if it's not the Champions League, it's the league, because there's obvious benefits to that. But my head says more likely to be Champions League, given the size of the task of overhauling the league Manchester City have got.
But what does the heart say, Steve?
Both. No.
Yeah, I was in the same boat. Both.
I get a special buzz out of when I was 14. We won the Champions League. We opened the doors, went out the street, and had a street party. Things like that on the streets of Liverpool will never leave me. That's unique for European nights. So I've got a special affinity with the Champions League. So I just want us to put enough distance between us and the rest of English football for the rest of history, which means nobody could ever top us. Because if Manchester City win 1, they might win 2 or 3, because they'll suddenly wake up to what the Champions League is. They'll
it's all about
to a whole new level, because they'll have that impetus of winning the Champions
League.
I'll
be honest, City winning the Champions League is a very scary thought, just because of the platform it gives them for what they could do in the future.
I've said this for 18 months, 2 years now on Football Heritage, when you used to sit and watch us, when I normally sit with Jan. If Manchester City win a Champions League, they become very, very dangerous, because they don't realise the sort of internal power that gives you to reach out and go to a different place. And they've got the infrastructure, and they've got the money, and they've got a really good, with the Barcelona connection with Romero, Bergestein, and Guardiola. They're in a great place to capitalise on that. So, okay, I'll answer your question. If it's Liverpool, Man City in the Champions League final, I'd take the Champions League final to stop them getting that progression.
I think context is key with this, but let's say if with the league win, we win it on the last day. I feel like
imagine Gerrard wins it on the last day if he takes points.
See, I would never want someone else to win the league for me. I'd want us to go and win it ourselves, not having to rely on like Gerrard.
Rely and checking the score all the time and all this stuff.
Yeah, but I would love to win the Premier League on the last day, because when we won it, we won it, and I was buzzing. We won it, but we knew we
COVID
won it
took
in,
it
January.
away still a bit.
We knew we'd won it in January, didn't we? We knew we'd won it. I want to see what it feels like winning it on the last day. I want to feel that.
No, I don't want to do that.
It wouldn't. The stress level.
I wouldn't be able to take it. My heart wouldn't be able to take it, but I want to feel that.
Do you know what, though, guys? I'll finish this question with this. We need a trophy parade with the Premier League trophy in Liverpool with 600,000 people on the streets, don't we?
Oh, 100%. That's needed. The fact we never got to get that isn't right, man. We need that trophy parade still. We need the trophy to be held in front of fans as well. Definitely 100% at Anfield in front of that, sure as well. But Cams, did you really what is your answer? Which one do you think we would win if we could only win one, and which one would you rather it be?
Definitely the Champions League, I think, because we're just not navigating the Champions League. It's just in us. It's just like etched into our history. We know how to navigate through the Champions League. But the thing, speaking of Mons said it best, like when we had this discussion before.
Yeah.
He'd want the Prem because we already have 6 Champions Leagues.
Yeah.
Like a second Prem and a 20th league title. That's the most league titles out of any English team. And we'd also have the most European Cups out of any English team. That's huge. That is massive.
Difficult to argue with that, to be fair. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, whatever one you pick, aren't you?
Spot on, yeah. It's a double-edged sword.
Obviously, I want us to win everything, but the thing is, if I was to say we'd win one, I'd say I still think there's a chance of the league, and Champions League's unpredictable. I don't know. If I was to tell you we'd win one, it would probably still. I don't even know still which one it would be, if we were to win one, because I still think we got a chance of the league. I probably would say Champions League. It probably would be, just because that's kind of still in our own hands and we are fully capable of winning it 100%. In terms of which one I'd rather win, obviously, like you said, there's different kind of context. What if you do play like a City in the final? But I think I would if you take that out of it and just say which one would you rather win this season, forgetting like context, I would probably say the Prem. Just obviously, if we won the Champions League, that would be great. But winning the Prem, I just think I want the title back as well. After we didn't retain it last season, I want that back. I think it needs to be held in front of fans. I think, I think also, we need to get to 20 as well, level it up with United. So we are joint then, most league winners. And then obviously we're comfortably ahead in European Cups anyway. So we need that. And I just think one league title in 32 years would seem, obviously 2 isn't great, but it's one more than one in it. I do think we need to start getting more league titles under our belts as well, after like kind of not really getting any, in the past 30 years. We do need more league titles. So I would probably say that, even though I do think normally I would say the Champions League, because I don't care what anyone says. The Champions League is a much bigger trophy than the Premier League. I don't care what anyone says. The Premier League for me it's a domestic league at the end of the day. And people in this country just overhype it for me. I'll be honest. Like for me, Champions League, Champions of Europe, the elite club competition, it's the bigger trophy. I don't care what anyone says. Whatever you say about harder to win, whatever in it, I don't care. It's the bigger trophy. It's the most prestigious trophy. And at the end of the day, it's when fans like Manchester City fans, what annoys me about them is they downplay the Champions League and overhype the Premier League in a way to make their failure of not winning the Champions League seem less of a black mark. Do you get what I mean? And that definitely, and they deny it. Obviously, they say, "Oh, UEFA and all this," or like UEFA are dickheads to everyone. Let's be honest. Not only you, Man City, they're dickheads to everyone at the end of the day. And thing is, just don't. I wouldn't have a problem with Man City fans if they didn't actually downplay the Champions League. That's the problem. They downplay it. And that's what I don't like. And they make the Premier League out to be like it's some amazing, fantastic league to win and all this. The Premier League is overhyped. I don't care what anyone says. It's not as good a league as what people think. Below Man City, Liverpool, and arguably Chelsea, this league is rubbish. Let's be honest with ourselves. It's not good. It really is. You got Arsenal in 4th, but Arsenal in a genuine top 4 race. Like, it's not a good league at the end of the day. So I would probably rather win the Prem this season, but there's reasons for that at the end of the day. And normally I would say the Champions League because it is the bigger trophy by a mile. But we'll end it on that, people. It's been a great stream. Steve, I'll go to you first. You want to plug anything, your socials, any streams you're doing on other channels, for example?
Yeah, just anyone watching wants to talk football. It's not just Liverpool, it's football. I'm a football fan. I've been on many pods to do with other clubs. Get me on my socials there on screen there. And then also, if you're a Liverpool fan and you want to tune into Red Men, there's content on there every day. My next appearance on there is 2 shows on Monday morning. So I'm looking forward to that. Pleasure to come on, mate. Nice to have a chat with you again. Not so controversial tonight, mate. You've not been so controversial tonight, mate. So thank you for that.
Now, you know what it is, yeah? It's probably
no
thing for that. There's probably two things that it's because we're actually doing so sick at the moment that there's not really much to criticize at the end of the day. But also, I'm hosting in it, so it's like a bit different in it. Let's be honest. But when you're hosting, you kind of have to be like more kind of impartial, maybe, and all that stuff. But I think it's just because of that. But yeah, I'm sure everyone here knows, Liverpool fans, what the Redmen TV is. Make sure you go and watch Steve on the shows that he is going to be on. Cams, I'll go to you next, mate. Plug socials, anything like that. Obviously, he's always on this channel, regular member of this channel, so you know you can.
I've not really got
catch him in any stream.
Yeah, I've not really got socials to plug, but yeah, you can find me on most days. Yeah, pretty much every now and then you'll see me on here. I'm pretty much on most of the shows, but yeah, that's about it from me.
You still doing your stuff on Twitch? Yeah, FIFA.
I've been busy. I've been very busy with work and stuff.
I heard that. Make sure you go and follow Cam's Twitch anyway, people. I think it's linked to this channel on the Twitch as well. I think Flawless linked it. So make sure you go and follow Cam's Twitch as well. Make sure you go and subscribe to other channels. Big Six Bands, Finished Article, all these channels, Statman Baines, etc. And big up to everyone for tuning in, and we'll be back next time.